happens when you mix lesson plans and punchlines? High school teacher and comedian Leslie Robb joins us to reveal how she uses laughter to connect with her students and handle those inevitable off-script moments. Get ready for a peek behind the curtain of teacher comedy here on episode 158 of Educate and Rejuvenate, the podcast. Welcome to Educate and Rejuvenate, the podcast to help you revitalize your teaching, renew your spirit, and reignite your passion for life. I'm your host, Kelsey Sorensen, a former teacher, current homeschool mom, published author, and certified life coach. Whether you are a teacher in a traditional classroom, homeschool from your kitchen table, or anywhere in between, I am on a mission to help you not only survive as an educator, but thrive. Get ready to uplevel your skills with incredible insights from guest experts and discover the missing piece, rejuvenating yourself. Are you ready to both educate and rejuvenate? Let's go. I am so thrilled that this episode is hitting the podcast today. I recorded this a few weeks before this airs, but if you're watching this on the Educate and Rejuvenate app or listening to this on your favorite podcast player right now, that means we've officially opened the doors to our Winter Educate and Rejuvenate 2024-2025 conference. And I am so thrilled for this event. There are some new things about it this time. For one, we have a brand new keynote we've never had before. Our guest keynote is Leslie Robb, who's also our guest here on the podcast today. We'll be talking about humor, teaching, connecting with students, and when things go off script, you're going to totally love this episode, but she is our guest keynote. And of course, I'll be doing some keynotes as usual as well. And we have an incredible lineup of speakers, too many for me to name just on this episode. So you're really going to want to go to the page to check out all the incredible speakers that we've got this year. Now, the other two new things are first, that the event is going to be hosted in our mobile app. So you're going to be able to watch or listen to the sessions on the go easier than ever. We cannot wait for this. And this is the big one. It is the first time ever that we are hosting an Educate and Rejuvenate event with a free option. That is right. We know a lot of you are struggling right now, and also a lot of us are pinching pennies and just budgeting for the holidays. So this event, there is a free option for you, so you have no reason not to come and join us. And that is why we did this. It's really our gift to you to be able to come and attend this event. And we didn't want money to get in the way of that. That said, there is an awesome Platinum Pass upgrade if you decide you want to do it. There are so many bonuses in there, and you'll get to watch the event during your whole winter break instead of starting January 3rd and all the way through June 30th. So you'll have a lot more time if you decide to upgrade. But if not, you're still going to have access for a full week starting on January 3rd, and you'll get to join live on the December 31st day where we have a yoga and 2024 reflection too. So it's going to be such a great time. It's really a winter recharge. That's the other thing that's a little bit different than the summer event. The summer event, we had a lot of content specific ones. We still have some here, like we definitely have all the categories, but just a few key speakers in each one. So it's not so overwhelming. And also a lot of it is really about how do I refresh my centers? How do I refresh this? Again, we're keeping in mind that mid-year slump a lot of us are feeling like we're in. And we're also going to laugh. We're going to have lots of our coaching like we always do. We are going to have the booty yoga class, which the reason I picked this is actually the instructor I go to twice a week in person. I love her so much. And booty yoga is like dance and yoga together. So usually we have a cardio and we have a yoga. And so since we're only going to have room for one workout this time, I'm like, let's do the combo. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm sharing my normal yoga teacher with all of you. So it's going to be such a great time. Her name is Madeline Buckwalter, and you're going to love her. So I cannot wait. Again, you really don't have a reason not to join us. It's completely free to join us on the general admission or upgrade to platinum for tons of additional perks. And if you're an Educate and Rejuvenate Club member, again, those platinum perks are included for you already. So really thrilled for this event. I hope to see you there, but for now we've got an awesome podcast for you. But real quick before we dive into that, another quick thing. We are still seeing some awesome reviews come in for my brand new book, Educate and Rejuvenate. I want to read this one that came in from KT. It was like letters KT. It says, a must read for educators everywhere. This book is a perfect resource for burned out teachers seeking rejuvenation and inspiration. I particularly appreciated the chapter on intentional scheduling especially the concept of the urgency matrix. I've been creating my ideal week each week, and I found it incredibly helpful in planning my time and setting priorities. I highly recommend this book to anyone, especially educators and homeschool parents who want to prioritize their well-being. I love reading each and every review, and I so love that the concepts in the book have helped KT to be able to create an ideal week and to be able to be intentional with her schedule. I love that it's given her the gift of more time in her life that I'm sure she's using in ways that she would love. So without further ado, if you haven't grabbed your copy yet, you can find it on Amazon. There's a link in the show notes. It's a great way to dive deeper into these concepts, more so than I can get into just on the podcast, and a way for you to have something to help you feel inspired if you're already starting to feel that slump where our event isn't happening quite yet. Great winter break read as well. So be sure to check it out. And if you've been reading the book or you already have a copy, make sure to leave a review on Amazon. Only a small fraction of people leave reviews on books. And I mean, I know because I read a lot of books and I don't always review them, but it really does make such a difference. And we are actually sending things to our email list, rewards, as we hit different tiers. So as soon as we hit 50 reviews, we'll be sending another full product to our email list. And for our club members, we'll be posting a Starbucks card in the club member section of the app because our members already have the resource. So we had to do something extra for them. We want to reward you for the collective effort of all of us leaving reviews on the book to help us reach more educators. And if you are so excited to be able to attend the winter event for free, it would mean the world to me if you took just a moment to leave a review and check out the book. Okay, let's get into today's interview with Leslie. And I'm going to actually, because I've talked so long, I'm not going to read her full bio here. She tells a little bit about herself here. Go to the event page and you will see her full bio and how incredible and amazing she is and all the places she's been featured and why it's so cool that we got her for the event. So make sure to head on over to the page to check that out. Welcome to the podcast, Leslie. We are so excited to have you here at Educate and Rejuvenate, the podcast.
Well, I am super excited to be here.
And the reason you're here is because we just recently announced that you are the keynote speaker at our Winter Educate and Rejuvenate event, which we are so thrilled about. And if you're watching this, if you're watching the video version, you'll see that we're getting all excited about it.
Yes, for sure.
But since you haven't been on the show before, you haven't been at our events before, can you tell our listeners and our viewers a little bit about yourself, what you do, what you teach, your comedy, all of that?
Okay, well, my name is Leslie Robb. For those who don't know me, you may already follow me at Leslie Robb Comedy, where I try to bring a daily laugh or smile to teachers. That means I'm a comedian. So that is where that comes from. But I'm also a full-time high school teacher, a speaker, and a PD presenter. So yeah, that is me in a nutshell.
Amazing. So you're like, oh no, the one job, like that's not enough. I got to add this other job on top of it, right?
Well, because our teacher pay doesn't quite equal out what we need.
Right. I know. That's what so many of us
I
know
know,
exactly
right?
how that goes,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
exactly.
Well, but I love what you do. I love that you're able to bring that smile and laugh to teachers. Like I know I've seen a bunch of your things on Instagram. They're probably on TikTok too. I'm just not really on
Yeah,
TikTok,
they're
but
everywhere. I try to have
but
monopolize every social media platform, so they're out
that's
there.
smart. I need to get better at that myself. But yes, love your videos and just how you offer humor, but also inspiration and lifting teachers up. So I love that so much.
Aw, well, I'm glad. I truly enjoy it. Not to, like, pat myself on the back by saying it's my gift, but literally just saying, like, it's my gift because I love to give it. So, yeah.
And it is a gift. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that either. We all have gifts, right? Like,
Mhm.
all of you listening, all of you teachers, you have a gift that you give your students every day. And think about what is your gift and your unique perspective that you bring. And so,
Mhm.
and I love when we're able to just say, yeah, this is my gift. I'm willing to offer teachers this, and I'm going to freely give it to you. So I
Yeah,
love that. It's
true.
just such a positive vibe.
That's so true.
So, how did you go from teaching in the classroom, you're a full time teacher, and then ending up doing comedy too. How did that exactly happen? Was there a defining moment? Did you just make a post on Instagram, or I don't know, what led to all this?
Well, I used to honestly try to incorporate humor into my classroom and into my lessons. And I've always been a silly person by nature from the time I was little until now.
Mhm.
But it's just more of I tried to incorporate it in my classroom and then I wanted to make it a career and actually become a comedian. People are like, you need to literally do something with this. So then what I
That's
did is
amazing.
I decided to create a social media account. And actually, my students are the ones that like were like, Miss Rob, you need to be on TikTok, you need to be on whatever. So then created an account and I started posting because initially I was trying to figure out what my comedy niche was. I tried
Right.
straight clean comedy, I tried some Christian comedy, I tried this other type of comedy, and it just nothing flowed right. The moment I put out a teacher video about teacher comedy, that's when my stuff started to grow and it
Mm.
grew fast. And I was just like, whoa. And so honestly, believe it or not, I deleted that account and I decided
Oh my
I was like,
goodness.
"That doesn't make any sense. This is never gonna go anywhere, teacher comedy." But then I ended up recreating my account and starting over again, found bored teachers, and now I'm part of them as well. So yeah, who knew teacher comedy could take you everywhere? So it's been amazing.
Well, I mean, I think because teaching, I mean, and again, because I'm a certified life coach working with teachers, I see every day teachers from all over. It doesn't matter where you live, we're all feeling very stressed out, right?
Mhm.
There's a lot. And so sometimes it's like, yeah, I really want to talk about it. I need to lean into those emotions and everything. But
Yeah.
other times you just need a laugh.
Oh
You
my
need some
god.
inspiration and you need it from others somebody who actually gets it. So it actually is not surprising to me at all that teacher comedy has really become this niche. I mean, there's board teachers, which you're a part of now. They like did a huge comedy tour and all of that. Like it's a thing. And
It's
it's because we
crazy.
need it.
Yeah, and like I was telling my sister even just last night, I was like, teachers are everywhere in every
Yeah.
county, every city, every state, whatever, everywhere you go, every country, there's a teacher.
Right.
And it only makes sense that duh, like laughter is medicine. What better way
Right.
than to make give teachers that extra boost than through a laugh?
Yes, and that's why honestly we always wanna have some sort of comedy at our events because we laugh during our coaching calls and stuff, and sometimes we can be a little funny, but I mean, I'm not a comedian by any means, like, we laugh together, we have fun, but I think it's fun that twice a year we get to bring in some sort of comedy and really, like, do this together, so it's so fun. I'm
That's
really glad you're
awesome.
here.
That is amazing.
Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back after this exciting announcement. If you're listening to this podcast, you know how thrilled I am about our Winter Educate and Rejuvenate event and that I really want you to attend. But I also just don't want you to take my word for how awesome these events are. So here's what some of our past attendees have had to say.
Really like the Educate and Rejuvenate events, both summer and winter. It's just refreshing, and I come out of it with some new ideas that I can apply to my teaching, apply to my life, and there's just the great community.
The Educate and Rejuvenate events are amazing. There's uplifts you and makes you laugh.
I'm a homeschool mom, and I love that this group is inclusive of both classroom teachers and homeschool teachers, and we all just get along great. The conferences have so much to offer for both groups.
My favorite events are the Educate and Rejuvenate. They really do give you that refresh for your spirit. Everybody was hollering self-care this, and it's not just taking a bubble bath. We really need to know how to take care of ourselves as teachers, as people, as human beings.
It was through this conference that I learned how to balance my teacher and work life. I learned how to set goals for myself. I learned how to prioritize what is very important to me as a teacher and what's very important in my life.
So if you're wanting 2025 to be a year where you thrive not only in teaching but also in your own everyday life and your goals, make sure to join us at Winter Educate and Rejuvenate 2024-2025. It's completely free for general admission. Go to educateandrejuvenate.com/conference to sign up for free. So one other thing I wanted to talk about is so you're a teacher, you're a comedian, and I feel like there are some things there that do go together. Like you have to go off script a lot of times with teaching, right?
Yeah.
Where it's just like, oh, I was not planning on that. So can you share a story where you had to go completely off script, not just on the stage in comedy, but in your classroom? So what happened and how did you handle it?
It would probably be easier to tell you when I don't go off script.
Or when do I not?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, 'cause when do we not go off script? Like, when like, I mean, it'd probably be easy to tell you about when I do stay on script, but, like, literally,
Yeah, like, "Oh, that time I actually did, like, we actually stuck to the lesson plan."
literally,
Woo!
that rarely, if ever, happens, and that's what
Yeah.
makes teaching so awesome, is that it can be trial and error, and that's actually something I talk about in my keynote, is going off script, and how it's so important to be able to go off script and not be married to your plans. At one point, I have a student had a student who is, the class clown, who always wants to be the center of attention, always wants to be seen, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm doing this lesson, and you know how you get so excited, like, oh my gosh, I worked so hard on this lesson. It's just going to go over so well. It didn't. And so I had one student I said, okay, guys, what is the answer to number one? And he goes, number one, like the Big Mac meal. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And I literally was like, embrace the interruption, Leslie, embrace the interruption. And so I was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
you go to McDonald's too? What do you get on your Big Mac? Do you get like extra mac sauce? What do you do? And it literally was like, wait, what? And then for a couple minutes, we talked about Big Macs and McDonald's and what our favorite meals were. And they're like, "Okay, guys, now that was fun. All right, let's try to get back to what we're talking about." And literally, it cost me nothing, but it would have cost me a whole
Yeah.
lot more if I didn't embrace the interruption.
I love that because you let them get it out, right? Otherwise, they'd be like, "Wait, no, I really need to say this thing, or I need this," not just talking about this subject matter, but actually connecting as just people who have opinions on what to put on their Big Mac, right?
Exactly, exactly. So it was literally a few minutes out of my lesson, like, you know,
And then you were able to get back to it, and it's not that that means that you weren't able to teach them, but it means that, oh, you actually made this connection point that maybe made it easier for you to teach them.
exactly, which is why relationship is so important.
Yes, absolutely. So, in classroom moments like these, how often do you stand up comedy? Because your comedy is for teachers, right? So,
Yeah.
your teacher and then your audience is teachers as well. So, how often do, like, okay, this thing happened? How is it you go about turning that into a comedy sketch that you do?
Well, it honestly depends on the day. So, like, I try to either, if something happened that day, I'll make note of it and then actually try to make something, a video or something about it, or maybe a piece of material for a set on stage. But honestly,
Mhm.
most of the times, after it's been 17 years of teaching, if I hear something, a voiceover on social media on that's popular about a video, I just literally critique that to shift it to teaching, something funny about
Yeah.
teaching, because honestly, there are so many ways to make teaching funny. Now, as far as on the stage with material and things that happen in the classroom, oh my gosh, that is endless content and endless material, because of the fact that my students are always doing something funny, or something that I do and laugh at myself, or at fellow teachers. It's literally just a full balance of everything.
Yeah. Yeah, there's always so much that you could get into. Like,
Oh, yeah.
and so when you're doing that, so you have something happen with a student, do you change it up a little bit for your comedy skit versus like, oh, this exact thing happened?
There's a kid that I reference in my set on stage, and I actually act out like I'm him, but he's actually a combination of like four of my male students that I've had over the years. So it's not like he's one person, but he's a
Right.
combination of different things that each of those boys have done. But I just wrapped it all into one sector of my set.
Yeah, that
Honestly,
totally makes sense.
yeah.
It's kind of like, okay, these are the themes I've seen. And that's
Mhm.
what I did in my book too, when I'd be like, oh, this teacher struggling with time management or whatever. It wasn't just one thing. It was like, oh, this is the pattern I've seen. So
Exactly.
you kind of get to do the same thing with your comedy.
Yeah, because I literally walk out like I'm literally one of the boys who refuse to crease their shoes, but how many of our boys refuse to crease their shoes? Like,
Right.
so yeah, so
Right.
it's just more like a general overview, and then some of my kids were like, "Use me in your set, use me in your set." So, but I'm like, "Yeah, no." It's usually a
Yeah.
combination.
That's so funny. They're like, "No, I wanna be
Yes,
in it."
they
They,
do.
like, see it as a win. I love
Oh
it.
my gosh, yes, because even believe it or not, even some of my tough kids that I could not reach, when they've stumbled across my social media and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you have a," and then I know it sounds weird, but it literally breaks the ice in a way that I would
Yeah.
not even expect. And it's like,
Yeah.
you're like normal like me, like you want to be on TikTok like I do. You know what I mean? So to even create
Yeah.
that sense of breaking the ice in a way that you couldn't normally do.
That's so interesting because yeah, they're like, "Oh, wait, my teacher's on TikTok,
Ye-
on Instagram?" Like
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's so funny. So I feel like as teachers, a lot of times, like I mentioned, so many who listen to this podcast are here because they want to like rejuvenate, because they feel so burned out as a teacher, overwhelmed all the time. But maybe they are. They're just like, I don't want to feel that way. I feel like comedy, teacher comedy is one of those things that can help us too, because sometimes we want to laugh, sometimes we want to cry. And sometimes we do need that good cry, but sometimes that laugh can really lift us up. So have you seen, it's not just about like a couple little laughs on an Instagram or a TikTok or whatever, but really how this humor has built something bigger. I'd love to hear about the community.
Oh my gosh, Kelsey, it has been amazing. The amount of teachers who have sent me messages thanking me so much for the laugh, and like them not feeling so alone, and not, and that some of the stuff that they thought only happened to them, that they realized through my comedy made
Yeah.
them feel seen and made them feel like, whoa, oh my gosh, it's not just me, or I'm not a terrible teacher, or the fact that I'm not getting a 99% pass rate like Susie Sunshine, but that there's somebody else who
Yeah.
can meet me at my level. Like, yeah, like it's just been so nice. And just like some of the teachers, some of them have, obviously some of these are
Mhm.
obviously rare, but just getting those stories have been amazing. There was one story of a teacher whose husband was a principal
Mm.
and he had committed suicide. And so she found my videos and they just have lifted her spirits. Another teacher who lost a student to gun violence, and said that it was the end of the school day and she knew that she could go to my comedy page and just get a laugh to just pick her up after the hard day that she had. And so those obviously are more rare, but the more common ones I get are teachers who are just like, it's so nice. I don't have a teacher bestie at my school, but I feel like I have a virtual teacher
Yes.
bestie in you. And so it's been amazing. The amount of messages I get, it's just like,
Yes,
it's
and
so
it's
heartwarming.
always wonderful to hear that what you're doing is making a difference, but it's not like about you, right? It's about how we're all able to connect. And like you said, a big thing of what all of us want, and this is a big theme in my work too, is that we want to feel seen, we want to feel heard, we want to feel understood, and have people around us who get it. And I feel like that's what you've been able to build.
Yeah.
That's what you've been able to do with your platform, with the comedy. And whether it's through like comedy or through what I do, people can feel seen when they see that, oh yeah, there are these struggles and I've had those too. I'm not alone in this. So I feel like what you're doing is
Hmm.
just so powerful and I
Hmm.
love it. And I'm so glad that you are going to be at our event. It's going to be so much fun. Before we talk more about that, though, I would love to ask you, so you found a way to make teachers laugh at even the most stressful parts of their job, right? There are a lot of stressful things. And I'm actually going to
Yeah.
go a little off script here versus what we even have here. I would love to hear, what are some of your favorite things that you've posted? What specific stressful things, or even like a specific post, like, oh, this one I posted, this was a good one.
So, like, I have 2. I have one that was mine and one that I made. I mean, well, obviously this one was mine
Uh-huh.
as well, but I made it for board teachers to post. But one of my favorite videos that I've ever made, that I made for board teachers, was the classroom interruptions
I
video.
know that
It
one. That
is
one's
by
so good.
far,
We'll have to link it.
it is by far one of my favorite ones I've done. I'm so proud of that project. It's like classroom
Okay.
interruptions part 1 and part 2. Both of those are by far my favorite things I've ever done, because it is something that everybody related to and was filling up the comments with more interruptions, which
That's
was able for
amazing.
me to make the part, because it was like literally all of us are in the same boat. Like, the amount of time that is allotted in a block and the amount of time you actually spend doing what you're supposed to do versus like going through
Oh, for
interruptions
sure.
is a whole nother ball game. And so it was hilarious the amount of responses that we got. As far as one that I've done for myself personally, it is the one that I just posted actually just a couple of weeks ago. It was me and my teacher bestie, and we made a video called Two Types of Teachers Headed to a Faculty Meeting. It is hilarious. She is like by far the type A, and I am type element GP, whatever. I am like, woo! And so she's the one who's on time. And Leslie, they said we had to do this. And I'm like, we'll get to it. And so that
That's
video
awesome.
kind of shows both those personality types. And people have
Well, to
died
find all
laughing
those,
at that one.
are those all easy for us to find so we can put it in the show notes so people can watch
Oh,
and
yeah.
listen to them?
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
definitely
yeah.
check those out. I feel like I only
Yeah.
saw one of the parts. I'm not sure which one of your classroom interruptions one. So I'll have to find the other one.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, I know, because the comedy is a way for us to come together to cope, to have resilience as teachers. So, what challenges do you believe that teachers face the most today, and how can we use humor to cope with those?
Literally trying to reach students. That is by far, in my opinion, outside of obviously parent interaction, but but literally reaching students to me is the hardest task for teachers because of the fact that nowadays kids don't care. They don't. I know it sounds crazy and it may be an exaggeration to some people, but literally they don't care. I have students who will come in and tell me they're not doing nothing today.
Like, okay, you're like, I
Like,
never would have told my
um,
teacher that.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And then, like, my partner teacher, she had said one day, she said that she had told one of the kids, "No, you were gonna do da 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 da," and he's like, "No," and she's like, "And then what do you do?" Like, I can't make you. So literally, because like they don't fear going to admin, they don't fear us calling
Yeah.
home, they don't fear any of that. So it's not a matter of like trying to reach them through fear. That's no longer a thing. It's more of try to reach them through relationship. And that's what I choose to do. I choose to build a relationship with my students, and then you can get them to do anything you want them to do. They are wide open to do what you want them to do. And my comedy is what helps me do that. Like, no, listen, come on. You ain't going, I try to act like them. I'll try to make something funny or sometimes like even just a silly dad joke that they're like, "Oh, Miss Rob,
Right.
stop." Comedy breaks the ice in any setting, but especially in a classroom setting. When your kids can laugh with you,
I
then
love that.
you
I love how
got
you were
them.
able to use comedy with your students specifically to be like, to connect with them. It's like that popular saying, connect before you correct. I mean, you probably heard that one before, but
Yes.
comedy is a great way to
Mhm.
do that. And I
Oh,
feel like some
100%.
teachers might know how to do that more so than other teachers. Do you have any like just short little tip on if a teacher is like, oh yeah, that's great. I can see how that works, but like I'm not funny or whatever. Like what tip would you have?
Actually, something I've heard before is when a teacher says they're not funny. And actually, my friend Jack, who does professional development as well but for middle school teachers, he is the one who helped me to figure out a way to help teachers with that. And honestly, like he said, if you're not funny, find somebody else who is, and then bring that into the classroom. If you're a
Oh
science
yeah,
teacher,
yeah.
bring Bill Nye in, like video. Yeah, pull up a Bill Nye video. He's funny. If you as a teacher know you're not funny, like it's forced and awkward and weird. So you find a way to bring something else in. For example, for my lessons, I
Right.
do a lot of TikTok videos to teach my lesson. So instead of pulling some random oh video off of YouTube that my kids are like, Miss Rob, make it stop. I make it something funny. For example, for our kitchen safety video, when I was teaching the kids about kitchen safety, I literally was in my old apartment. I had made a kitchen safety video in my kitchen. I had caught myself on fire pretend wise. I had done all these things, and the kids learned so much more from that video because they thought, Miss Rob,
Oh
what were
man.
you doing? And so that's something that any teacher who teaches kitchen safety could pull and use it in their classroom. They may not be the funny person, but
I
bring
love that
somebody
because
else
that's
in who
so
is.
easy, so doable. I also think that some teachers might be writing themselves off a little too quickly with that too. Like, oh, I'm not funny. Really? Is that true? Maybe there are times you are funny.
There's different types of humor too. There's drama humor, there's sarcasm, there's all types of different types of humor that
Yeah.
you don't may not realize you're funny. And then if you find out that you just aren't, then you may be okay,
I
fine.
mean,
Maybe you
because
aren't.
for
They'll forgive
example,
it.
I'm not a comedian like you are, but a lot of times we find ourselves laughing on our coaching calls. And it's like, I'm just being funny in a different way, right? So maybe you could even just try it on, like, and maybe you just want to bring in Bill Nye or whatever, but try on, like, how is it? I maybe am funny. What are some things that suit my personality? Not to give you another
Exactly.
thing to do though, because we don't need that. Just an idea.
Right.
Just an idea
Yeah,
that
no
came to my
pressure,
head as
guys.
we were
No
talking. Just
pressure.
going off script a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, just a little push. Just a
Just the,
little
like,
push.
life coach in me that's always like, "Well, is that actually true?"
Yeah,
Oh, I
exactly.
love this so much. I
Exactly.
feel like this gives everybody an awesome taste of what they're going to get when they show up at our keynote. This has been amazing. We just breezed through those questions, which was so much fun. And I
I
feel like it
love
gave
it.
everybody an awesome peek at what your keynote is going to be like, a little bit of your personality, a little bit of your humor and your style. I am so thrilled that you're
Yeah.
going to be our keynote at our Winter Educate and Rejuvenate. To
Yay.
everybody listening, that is happening in January. And We, for the first time ever, have a free tier so you can sign up and come live. It's going to be so much fun. You're going to want to be there. We'll have the link in the show notes for all of you to check that out. But Leslie, can you tell us a little bit about what our listeners will get out of the keynote when they choose to attend? Because it's free. They have nothing to lose. They just need to come.
I know, you might as well, guys. Yeah, why not? So when you attend the keynote, guys, well, first of all, we're just gonna have fun. That's number one. We gotta have fun. We're gonna have some laughter. So it's literally, guys, a comedic yet informative keynote. Like, it is so much fun. You guys are gonna have actual takeaways that you can leave and place in your classroom right after our session together. And the best part about it is that it's a way, my keynote is a way to help you think differently in order to teach differently in hopes of reaching today's generation,
Yeah.
because they need a different approach, guys, and I'm here
love
to give it
it.
to you.
We need that. How do we reach this generation that does feel different, right? And it is different, but we can reach them. Like you said, you're like, "Oh, I
100%.
figured out." Oh, you connect. Like it's just
Yes.
you can. Like, and we're going to talk about that, and we're going to have a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, we are.
So to close it
Don't
up,
miss it,
let's
guys.
just do a few quick fun questions just so they can get to know you a little more. So what is your favorite
Okay.
school supply and why?
Sharpies. Okay. Okay. Actually, I would say it's a tie between Sharpies
Yes,
and
flare
flare
pens are
pens.
pretty great.
Okay. Because come on, like, we
Right.
need Sharpies for like everything. Like, I need them to write on everything. And you know how it is. If we
Right.
don't label it, we lose it. Or the kid,
Uh-huh.
or somebody takes it and it walks away. You know, so Sharpies are essential. And flare pens are just fun. Okay, with all the different colors, like, come on, it makes for a brighter day.
I love
So I
pens. I
love
have a pen
those. So
collection with
yeah.
Sharpies, flares, ink joys, all the things.
Yeah. And the super sticky Post-it
Ooh,
notes. I had to throw that in one in there.
super sticky. I only have regular Post-it
Super
notes. What
sticky
are these
Post-it
super
notes.
sticky
And I
ones?
oh my gosh, you have to get the super sticky Post-it notes. So, like, number one, they multicolored, not just yellow, which is the best. They're multicolored and they literally stick
Oh,
to
okay.
everything.
I'm like,
They're the best.
mine are
Okay, they're by
multicolored, but I
Post-it.
don't know if they're extra sticky or not. I'll have to look.
So you'll know if you look on the back, it'll say, usually if it's a regular post, it'll just say Post-it, but the super
Oh,
sticky
okay.
says
I'll have to
Post-it
check.
super
Maybe
sticky.
I just haven't paid enough attention
And
and I
even
already
on
have them.
the
I might.
yeah, and on the package, it'll say super sticky if it's a super sticky package,
Okay,
and if it's
everybody,
not,
now
it'll
we got to
just not have
watch
it
it
on
when
there.
we buy our sticky notes. Make sure they're super sticky. Most important lesson of the
Super
day.
sticky.
Just kidding. Okay, if
It
you could
is.
magically banish one teacher task, what would it be? And we'll close off with that one. Oh, yeah.
Data. I hate doing data. Golly. Data, and I guess this would go with it, SMART goals. But oh my gosh, can I just teach? Like, why do I have to like make it work when it comes to data and stuff like that? Because then I'm not just like, hey, let's just do this for fun. It's like, hold on, let me see which standard it meets, and then make sure that I assess that the standard that we did it was the what, and then to write it out and
Whew,
explain it. Oh my
yeah.
gosh,
It,
it's exhausting.
it's a lot and one of my least favorite parts for sure too.
100%.
Okay, I lied. I'm
A
actually gonna ask
hundred
you one more.
percent.
Coffee, soda, or something else for surviving the tough teaching days?
Okay.
You can totally
Can
say
I
something
say
else.
something else?
Oh yeah.
Definitely a margarita.
Like,
I
what
was
kind of
gonna say,
something
not sure
else?
what kind of podcast.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, what do we mean by something?
Here we go, you guys. There aren't children listening to this show, so you're good.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was like. See, you as a
I
teacher, like,
know.
we're so
I know.
paranoid.
We're
And I'm
grown-ups
like,
here.
I don't have a margarita.
Okay. Well, thank you for being here today and laughing together. And I cannot wait to have you at our winter event. And can you tell everybody like why they should come? Why they should come join us?
Oh my gosh, because guys, what better PD or professional development or a chance to grow as a teacher than to have fun while you're doing it? So you got to come, guys.
It,
You're going to learn and
it's
have
so much
fun.
fun. And we've
Great
got
combination.
yoga, we've got comedy, we've got
Cool.
life coaching, and then we've got all the pre-recorded sessions, and all the replays will be in the mobile app for you to check out. It's super convenient. So make sure that you go sign up. And if you want extended access, we've got an awesome VIP platinum pass for you too. So if you can't make it live, you'll definitely want to grab that.
Oh, wow. So then it's not a matter of
For
why they
real,
should come,
for
it's
real,
why
because
not come.
yeah,
Like,
I mean, honestly, we made it free
yeah.
because we want all teachers to be able to have the Educate and Rejuvenate event experience. So we didn't want money to be the reason why they didn't come see and try it out. So that's why, yeah, this is the first time we're doing a free version, and we're just really, and it's the first time with our new mobile app. We just really wanted everyone to be able to come and see and experience. It's like our Christmas gift, is what we're saying. It's like our gift to teachers.
I love it.
All
I
right. Well,
love it.
thank you so much for your time. I cannot wait for your keynote. And to our listeners, stay tuned for way more fun together with all of us at the event.
Yes. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining me on Educate and Rejuvenate, the podcast today. If you love what you heard in this episode, be sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And if you're hungry for even more, be sure to check out the book that I wrote. It's called Educate and Rejuvenate, a 3-step guide to revitalize your teaching, renew your spirit, and reignite your passion for life. It takes everything you learn here on the podcast and that I teach our members inside the Educate and Rejuvenate Club into a guidebook you can refer to again and again. One of our early readers said it was like clarity for her brain. Plus, it's not only a book. With your purchase, you'll get a full PDF guide with exercises and links to videos and more so that you can not only consume but apply everything that you learn. If you're ready to make Educate and Rejuvenate not just a podcast you passively listen to, but a lifestyle that you put into action, it's time to grab your copy on Amazon today. Or head to educateandrejuvenate.com/book to read the first chapter and the introduction today.